Alright, I'll be doing the odds off your study guide for Chapter 3 integer test. Alright, number one, what you see here are bars around a number, and we need to remember the bars around a number means the absolute value of. So this is the absolute value of -9. To review what absolute value means, it means how far is this number from 0. And we're talking about how far from, it's always going to be positive. So every absolute value will be positive. So the absolute value of -9, well, -9 is 9 from 0 and 3 is 3 from 0. So if I add the absolute values, I'm at 12. Remember, the reason we're working with absolute value is when we go to do integer addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, we actually do all the math with the absolute value, and then we use the rules to find out whether it's positive or negative. All right, number 3. This is a situation in which somebody is spending $140 each week for 8 weeks at that same rate, $140 each week for 8 weeks, and they wanted to know how you would write that. Well, first of all, spends denotes a negative movement of 140 for how long? 8 weeks. So that would be this times this for each week, so times 8. Now, those could be reversed. It could be 8 times -40. They could be shown with the multiplication sign, with the dot in between. Like I said, either order because of the commutative property, but somehow we need to show this is happening this many times, -140 times 8. All right, number 5. Number 5 is talking about somebody playing golf, and these are their rounds, their practice rounds, and so we want to find their average score. Remember, average means add all the numbers, divide by the number of numbers. So I need to add all of these, first of all, and then divide by how many numbers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the sum of these divided by 6. Well, I can add in any order, so I'm going to go ahead and get all my my negatives together and my positives together. So I have -7 plus -2, same sign, add and use that same sign, -9. -9 plus -5, same sign, add and use that same sign, -14. -14 plus -2, same sign, add and use that same sign, -16. So I'm at -16, but I have 3 and 1, same signs, add and use that same sign, so I'm at +4. These two have different signs when I add them, so I actually have to subtract their absolute values. 16 minus 4 is 12, and the sign of the larger is negative. So I had 6 rounds with a total of -12. So 12 divided by -6, remember, one negative or an odd number of negatives in a division problem makes it negative. So the average score here would have been a -2. Next are just a couple straight addition, subtraction, multiplication, division type problems. -14 minus 33 to review. We're going to do leave, change, opposite. We're not going to be subtracting integers. We're going to be adding their opposite. When I look at these have the same sign now, so they're working together, so I add them, and I get 47. I'm adding their absolute value, by the way, and use that same sign. 47, nothing canceled out, so I see all 47, then they're all on team negative. Number 9, division. In the multiplication division rules, if I have an even number of negatives, your answer is going to be positive. So how many -3s fit into -21? Well, 7 of them. Number 11, -2 to the 5th power. Remember, you're seeing only one negative, but how many negatives are there? There's 5, because that's -2 times -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. So I'm going to do it with their absolute value. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. And then I have to go back to it. How many negatives did I just multiply? 5, which is an odd number, so I end up at -32. All right, for the following problems, you have x equals 2, y equals -6, and z equals -18. So two things right next to each other means multiply. So I want to remind you how I would substitute these in. I would put them in parentheses so they don't look like one number or a subtraction problem or something like that. X right next to z. Okay, well, 2 times -18, I have one negative, so that's odd, so I'm going to end up with -36. Next one, I have 2z. This is what I mean by putting them in parentheses. If I don't put this z, this -18, in parentheses, it could look like the problem 2 minus 18. So I'm going to put it in parentheses, plus an x, which is 2. Now I need to remember order of operations. I would try to do the parentheses. I would look for exponents. I would look for multiplication division, which I have. 2 times -18. I just did that problem up here. It was -36 because there's one negative in a multiplication problem. Plus 2, they have different signs, so I subtract sign of the larger absolute value had more negatives. All right, final one. Let me substitute for y, -6 plus 10. They have different signs, so I subtract. Sign of the larger absolute value is positive, so 4 is my answer. And number 19, I'll show the number line here from the actual paper. It's hard to see there, so let me show you that a little bit closer. When I look at A, it's halfway between -8 and -10. So right there would be -9. And B is halfway between 2 and 4. So it's right there at 3. Just a little review on your study guide.